Now, with children often eating 3 times the recommended amount of sugar, it's hardly a surprise that obesity and tooth decay is on the rise. Now, Public Health England is encouraging parents to limit their kids' snacking to no more than twice a day, each with a maximum of 100 calories. It's part of a new campaign, but is this simple advice enough to solve the complex problem of modern diets? Charlotte Lomas reports.
A last chance for many to let off steam before the school routine kicks in. And with the new year comes new guidelines to help children be healthy. A campaign is urging parents to give only 2 snacks a day of no more than 100 calories at a time.
As a parent, we want to ensure our children eat the best and the best that we can possibly give them. Obviously, they like a lot of the naughty things that are out there in front of them every day. Obviously, we try our best.
Personally, I just don't count calories. I just go for what I instinctively think that's what is healthy.
You should think about what you're giving your children to eat. You should at least think about it and try and make sure that they're getting a balanced diet.
For Dad Keir, keeping his son healthy isn't about counting calories, but balance. He's a sports teacher and says he's witnessed the increasing problem of childhood obesity.
There's too many children out there who don't do enough exercise and eat too much sugary food. So there needs to be some sort of education to parents to know exactly what it is that they're giving their child so they can give them the right food.
And one thing the new campaign wants to highlight is that half a child's daily sugar intake comes from unhealthy snacks and drinks.
It's recommended that children under 10 consume a maximum of 5 cubes worth of sugar a day. But research suggests that actually children are consuming on average 15 cubes of sugar.
And going over 5 sugar cubes is easy to do. A 40-gram Mars bar has 6 cubes of sugar and 177 calories. The rest of the snacks here are under the 100-calorie mark, but yoghurt flakes contain just over 3 cubes of sugar. Tesco's pure apple juice has the equivalent of 2.5 cubes, and Sori malt loaf has just over 1 cube of sugar. Some nutritionalists argue that focusing too much on calories is not the answer.
You could actually have some healthy snacks which are quite filling, such as, nuts or some chunks of cheese or hard-boiled eggs and so on, that could potentially exceed that 100 calories, but actually be nice and low in sugar.
Research shows a third of children will leave primary school overweight or obese. The new campaign aims to tackle this problem and encourage parents and children to choose healthy foods from as early as possible. Charlotte Lomas, Sky News.
Well, joining me now is Nicole Berberian, who is a specialist obesity dietitian. Welcome to you. I'm going to fess up now. My young daughter wanted a biscuit today. We had people over. We were late with lunch. I was about to give it to her when my other half said, "No, haven't you seen the news today?" Which is a bit rich given what I do for a job. And we didn't give it to her. So is this really about getting parents to have a backbone and learning to say no?
It's about understanding what the overall intake of your child is. Of course, you had one biscuit on offer. Once in a while, that's unlikely to have been a big disaster. What's more, the problem is if that's your go-to every single day, constantly throughout the day, if it becomes the routine. And that's what we're looking at in this study. We're seeing that seems to be the norm, that children are coming out and having a bag of crisps, they're having biscuits, instead of eating proper food. And that's where it's going wrong. Because, of course, there is absolutely, and I'll make it clear, there's absolutely nothing wrong with having a little bit of chocolate, biscuits, and these healthy alternatives that you can have instead, yes, but once in a while these are okay. The problem is the unhealthy ones are becoming the mainstay, and that's what we're looking at. How can we simply give advice that is a sort of rough guide so that parents can say, right, I've got an idea of what I should be doing?
So the advice we've had today from Public Health England is 2 sugary snacks, maximum of 100 calories each. But the newspapers, Daily Mirror, Stop Your Kids from Eating Crisps, The Sun, Mars Barmy, a sense of outrage that the government dare tells us anything about what to feed our children.
And that's actually taking us down the wrong avenue. It's giving a misleading picture. What the government's trying to do is make it easier to understand how to get a healthy intake in, and giving an idea of what is normal and what's okay. So by doing this 100-calorie idea, I would say the focus then becomes too much on numbers, because then you could end up potentially saying, well, I'm going to give 2 half chocolate bars. So the Mars bar was 177 calories. So you could end up giving, well, you might say, well, I'm just going to give that Mars bar, cut it in half and give it every single day. And actually, I'd say that that's really not the idea we're trying to give. We're trying to say, actually, can we swap that? Can we make it so that the Mars bar is maybe the treat when friends come round once a week, once every couple of weeks? And instead, for the daily intake, when children are at home, when you're doing your packed lunches, when you're doing your after-school snacks, that's when you could do things like do a slice of wholemeal toast and maybe put some peanut butter on it. Or you could do the fruit ideas, or a piece of cheese in half a pitta bread. Something that's real food that's going to keep them full.
Is it enough if your child does eat a lot of fruit and vegetables but still likes to have chocolate and those sugary snacks? What specifically is the sugary snack doing to a child's body?
The sugary snack once in a while is going to do no problems. The problem is the frequency of it. We're looking at tooth decay. So the frequency of sugary drinks, sugary snacks, confectionery, the problem is you're looking at teeth. Secondly, you're looking at a relation to weight gain, because there is a relation with sugary drinks and weight gain, and there is a relation for children for sugary drinks and weight gain and type 2 diabetes as well. However, when it comes to sugar per se, actually there is a lot more to look at, and it's much more about looking at how often you're getting it and what's the overall balance of the diet. So I'm actually not so much about the specific numbers. I'm more about looking back at the day and saying, what's this child eaten today? Have they just eaten crisps and biscuits and chocolate? Have they had an actual meal that they're feeling full? So they're satisfied and they've got the energy to then do the activity that they need to function in class and all the other parameters to go with healthy eating.
Just very quickly, many people point to processed food as quicker to access, and some people holding down 3 jobs in order to give their children any form of life. How do you simplify this for people, really, to make sure that they are getting nutrient-dense food and not quick grab and go food?
Good questions. The most important thing is buy the food in the house so it's there, quickly accessible. Things like bread, pitta bread, slices of cheese, things that you can quickly grab and go. Satsumas, apples, bananas, those are all your quick go-to run out the door.
They're expensive though, aren't they, those
And not necessarily. The wholemeal bread you can get peanut butter that you can just put a thin slice of, and you can get, there's so many deals now coming out on the healthy fruit, because that's what the government's pushing for. The healthy snack foods are going to be brought down to be the deal foods.
Start of January,
Yep.
new leaf and all that. Still eating the Christmas food at home myself there, but there we are. Nicole Berberian, lovely to have you, and thank you very much
Pleasure.
indeed.